Fiona, it's a great privilege to have you with us in studio today.
Thank you very much.
Your fourth book is now in production. You're writing at the moment.
That's right.
3 published by Poolbeg in Dublin. Where did it all start for you?
I've always had a real interest in writing, and from a very early age I've always been a really avid reader as well. I grew up and cut my teeth on Enid Blyton, and then went on to, you know, love and adore the other Irish writers, Maeve Binchy, Marion Keyes, you know, and always loved books that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And those were the sorts of authors that would have provoked that kind of reaction in me. So I thought I would try my hand at it and see if I could produce something similar to that.
How long ago was that?
Well, I got my first book was published in November 2009. But I had been writing maybe for about 3 years before that, because it's a hard industry to break into. But
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have all sorts of bolt-on specialisms to be. You have a soap opera here or doing something there, and then they take you. But you've done it. 3 here, published, and a 4th on the way.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a genius.
Oh, I don't know about that,
It's good. But a great confidence. You need confidence to write books.
You do. The way that the industry is, your confidence could be knocked very easily, because I know that whenever I was first starting out and whenever I was approaching agents and publishers and whatever, you do get knockbacks, but you know, I always think you have to take it on the chin, you have to take on board what people say and act upon it in order to make yourself better and mould yourself into what they want. Obviously you have to stay true to yourself to a certain degree as well, but you know, there's a certain way of marrying the two, so that you can, you know, make your work marketable but still write the story that you want.
Do you use an editor?
Yes, well, there's a very good editor in Poolbeg there. Her name's Gay Shortland. She's a writer herself, and she's amazing.
Works closely with you.
She's amazing. Lovely lady.
Is there a danger that you're talking about being true to yourself?
Yes.
Is there a danger that in implementing what the editor wants you to do, that you lose yourself and that the work comes under the thumbprint of the editor rather than you?
No, I think that I think that you can have a nice relationship with your editor whereby they can gently guide you and give you advice, but at the same time, if you feel very strongly about a certain element of your storyline or maybe a certain characteristic of one of your characters, I think if you have good enough reason for wanting that to stay, that they will respect that, but maybe subtly change it to fit in with maybe whatever their reservations were. But I have to say, on the whole, you know, I was very lucky in that most of my stuff was approved, and I never really had that bone of contention. Although I have to say that some of the northern colloquialisms would have been brought up now and again in editing notes. Fiona, what is a buck Egypt, please?
Anyone who doesn't know what a buck Egypt
Your
is...
version of a southern Egypt, but with a northern twist.
Anyone who doesn't know what a buck Egypt is a buck Egypt. You'd think so, for goodness sake.
That's it. And Gulder, that was another one. What does Gulder mean? That means to shout.
Shout. Should we? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're growing up at home, your love of books. I take it you were surrounded by books.
I was surrounded by books. My parents were both teachers, and they always would have been very strong advocates and encouraging me to read from a very early age. And it's something that has benefited me all my life. You know, even now, you know, it's something that I enjoy, something that I love to do, something that relaxes me. And then as a writer as well, it's sort of like research as well to see what's trending at the minute and what books are coming out and, you know, that type of thing.
It becomes a bit of it's almost then like a business. You have to be business-like.
Yeah, I suppose.
You just can't be a creative artist.
No, you do. You have to take stock of what's around you and of what is in vogue at the minute. You know, although having said that, you know, you can always come up with new ideas and start a new trend.
Yes, of course.
J.K. Rowling, you know, being one example. There was nobody else that was writing anything like Harry Potter whenever she first came on the scene. So it would be lovely to be able to do that, to be a trendsetter.
Maybe your day will come for that.
Oh, you never know.
It's, the methodology of your writing, do you write in the early day, the late evening, or do you take yourself off into a cave in a mountainside?
I wish I had a cave to go to. I have 4 children, so whenever I get time, basically, I write. I wish I had a cave to retreat to at the best of times, never mind just to write.
Yeah.
But normally I find I'm probably most productive late on in the evening, because that's my time, once the children have gone to bed and whatever, that's my time for unwinding. I love the pure escapism that writing affords me. I love, you know, opening the laptop and delving back into my storylines and into my characters, because it's literally like stepping into another world, and I find that very relaxing. I know people will say to me, how do you write a book, or how can you be pressurised with deadlines and things, but you know, I don't see it as pressure. It's something that I love and that I really enjoy to do, so therefore it's not pressure to my mind.
Yeah. But it's what are the children? How old are the children?
18, 16, 7 and 2.5.
And what do they think about having mummy as an author?
The older ones are very proud of me, although trying to get them to read and leave down Xbox controls and
it's a different age.
iPods and whatever is very hard. But no, they're quite proud of me, and I know that my wee girl is 7 now. But I think actually, out of all of them, I think she's going to be the one that's maybe going to take after, because I can see the signs there already. She loves being read to, and she's at the stage now where she'll take a book to bed herself, and you know, so I can see signs of myself in her, and I love that.
But is that the secret? You know, that you take it all in your reading. You're taking it in. You're filling the pond. You're taking it in, and then on an occasion when you start to write, there's a connectivity. You turn on the tap, and things start to emerge.
I teach creative writing classes, and I will always tell my students that in order to be able to write well, I feel that you have to fill your knowledge with reading, and by reading other people's books, and by familiarising yourself with different styles, different genres, you know, to see exactly where you fit in. Because I know I would slot myself in as a contemporary women's writer, because that's the sort of books that I enjoy reading, and I know that my writing is probably similar to that. Although I have to say, the new book that I'm working on at the minute, it's got a working title at the minute of Smoke and Mirrors, but it's slightly different. It's like darker women's fiction with maybe sort of like a crime edge to it nearly. You know, so it's something that I've never done before, but I think that's good. You know, it's always good to try and expand yourself and to challenge yourself too.
Yeah, and in your writing, you talked about opening up the laptop and delving back into your characters. Do you write it sequentially from beginning to end, or do you compartmentalize the character, and then you'll say, that's the character John, I'll go back to character John, let me do that, and you do a wee bit more on John, and then you move to another part because the muse takes you there?
It depends. I know with the first 2 books, the characters would all have sort of come alive together, but I know in my 3rd book, the last book that came out there in December last, each chapter was devoted to a character, so it was sort of different in that, you know, I had a certain amount of time devoted to certain characters, so it was a slightly different take on things.
Yeah.
You know, but you do find whenever you're writing, I always say each of my characters will have a CV, so as I can kind of go back to them and expand a wee bit on it.
You're wonderfully organised in it.
I don't know about that. I like to think I am, but maybe not.
When you approached Poolbeg, you were a newcomer.
I was.
And what kind of reception did you get?
Well, I had approached Poolbeg several times and had got a certain amount of feedback from them. And this was with an older book that I had written back about 5 years ago. And in the end I ended up shelving it because I thought, no, this is not working. I'm going to have to try something new. I wrote Anyone for Seconds. Poolbeg were the only publisher that I had actually approached with it, and in April 2009 they got back to me and offered me a 3-book deal on the strength of Anyone for Seconds, with 2 more books to follow.
So what, did they ring you? Did they send you a letter?
I got an email.
An email said what?
Yeah, an email saying, I'm sorry I didn't have your phone number, but I'm delighted to offer you. Yeah. I'm delighted to offer.
That was the most enormous email you ever got.
It was amazing, because I remember that particular day, my internet was off. I had gone to my friend's house just to check. I wasn't even expecting anything from Poolbeg. I think I was waiting for something else. And I remember my friend being upstairs and her coming down the stairs 2 at a time to see who'd been killed in the kitchen, because I was literally screaming the place down in disbelief. I just could not believe it. Couldn't believe it that it had actually happened.
Yeah. And did they pay you money up front and all that kind of thing?
You get an advance, and then you'll get certain amount after that with royalties or whatever, depending on how well your books do. But
essentially, you're not doing it for the money, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Although absolutely not. A shop
you definitely wouldn't be doing it in Ireland for the money, because it's too small. It's too small a plane to be focusing on.
But I mean, with the Irish, with the humour and the Irishisms, beg your pardon, America must be beckoning.
Well, I would love to think so. I've sort of got my sights set on the UK. I would absolutely love to do something, in the UK at this stage. But I don't know, I'll get this 4th book written, and I suppose the world's my oyster. I can approach whoever.
You're sitting here with 3 books and a 4th one on the way. That's an amazing treasure chest, and it's an amazing boost to your strength and your confidence that you're able to do this. Like, I mean, how many people could say, I have written this? That's a great thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I definitely don't take anything for granted. And, Poolbeg gave me the start that I needed, and I will always and forever be so grateful for that, because some of my loveliest memories are to do with, writing the first book and getting it off the ground, because it was a whole new experience. And I remember Paula Campbell, she's the publisher in Poolbeg, saying to me, savour the first moment that you ever see your book on a shelf, because you'll never experience it again. And it's very, very true. I remember going into Eason's, my local Eason's would be in Craigavon, and I remember going in and standing and just admiring it and taking photographs of it. I'm sure people wondered, what is she at? No, it was amazing.
We wish you well.
Thank you very much.
You're a fantastic woman, Fiona Cassidy, and may the ink in your pen never run dry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a million.
Very good. Wonderful. There we are.